Hello and welcome to the 741 channel. Thank you for stopping by. Today is another installment in the 741 outdoor projects vlog for the summer of 2020. What I've been working on today, actually yesterday for the most part, is where to put my shed, how big to make it, and kind of the rough design of where the doors should go and that kind of a thing. So let's take a look at what I've come up with. So if you saw my first video where I kind of introduced this whole project vlog in the first place, I talked about wanting to put a shed over here next to the garage, up against the edge of the yard and sort of parallel to the garage. Now the shed's going to be fairly good size. It's going to be 12 by 20. So it was going to take up a fair amount of room over here. Now I had looked at this spot, but then I also looked at this spot up here, sort of on this rise in the yard over here. And I wasn't sure which place I was going to put it. Originally, I wanted to have it closer to the garage for easier access, but after kind of looking at the topography of the land over here versus what I've got over there, it seemed like that was going to be a better spot for it. Okay, so here's sort of what I've come up with. You can see I've kind of roughly marked out my 12 by 20 shed location. So the 12-foot direction will be that way, and the 20-foot direction will be that way. Now I've got some obstacles that are not really in the way but might need to move. I've got my wood pile over here. This is where I usually deal with cutting and splitting any wood that I cut from the property, or I store extra wood left over from the winter that I haven't burned. And that's what you see here. I've got some logs that need to be cut and split and then left over there. But this doesn't need to stay here. This could move. I've got another spot right over here on this side of this fire pit that would work out just fine for that. And actually, really, this fire pit doesn't even need to be here. It could move back. When we first built the house, sort of behind where it is now was all sort of wood chips that were spread out, left over from when the land was cleared and they chipped up some of the brush that was here. When we first built the fire pit, we didn't want it in the wood chips just because. So I put it here, but the wood chips are all rotted down now, and there's no reason why this couldn't just kind of move back or at least straighten out and get kind of parallel to the edge of the vegetation back there. Now, you guys can't see it because it's all overgrown, but there are some huge boulders sort of back there, and those are some of the boulders that got dug out of the cellar hole when they built the house. They just kind of dumped them back there, and the vegetation is just kind of hiding them now. But like I said, there's about 10 feet or so between the edge of the fire pit and where the boulders start, and still no vegetation. So we'd be able to push this back if I need to. But for now, I think I'm going to leave it where it is and try and work around it. So then over on the other side, I do have a little bit of an obstacle. I've got this boulder here, but I think there's plenty of room between the corner of where the shed's going to be and the boulder. So I'll still have enough room to, walk through here, or even drive like a riding mower, or even an ATV. Not that I have one, but I think there'd be enough room. I wouldn't be able to get a truck through here, but I don't think I'd need to ever. The only thing back there are foot trails. I own maybe another couple 100 feet from this spot kind of back there. So I might want to get back there to cut trees, but other than that, the only really reason to go back there is to walk. But having said that, if I do need to get something bigger back there, I've got room between these two boulders. There's no obstacles here, really. This is just scrubby vegetation that I could kind of clean up and flatten down. And then there's no reason why I wouldn't be able to get up here and then just get back there with something, bigger than an ATV if I needed to. Now, this would also offer access to this side of the shed. And the reason I might want that is because what I could do with the shed in this spot, at some point I could build an extension off the back of the shed. Either a full enclosed like secondary room off the shed, or just like a lean-to carport type thing. Not for a car, but maybe for a riding tractor or an ATV or something to kind of park back there and stay at least partially out of the elements. That's not in the plans for this summer. It's just something that could be done at some point in the future if I wanted to. And so that brings me to the shed design itself. Now, like I said, this is going to be the 12-foot dimension, so the walls will go up, and then the peak of the roof will be you know, here, I guess, whatever, if you can kind of follow my finger motions, but I think you guys kind of know what I'm talking about. Anyway, on this side of the shed, centered in the wall, I'm going to have a set of double doors that'll open up either 5 or 6 feet wide, and I'll be able to access this side of the shed. And again, I can get up here with a riding tractor if I wanted to, or whatever, just by kind of just cleaning up this scrub. Also, in addition to the door on this side, is on what I'll call the front of the shed, the long wall. Over on this side, I'll have another set of double doors so that I can come straight in from the yard with the riding tractor, and that's primarily where it'll live. It'll kind of go in here and park on this side, and then the other side will be just for other stuff. But I want the double doors on that side too, in case I ever want to bring something wide in there. And then I'll have, you know, a window on this side to provide light. Now, I think another reason for having the double doors on this side, and this is actually something my wife pointed out, if I turn around and look at the slope of the land, you can see it's more gentle on this side than it is over here. So if I need to get a running start or something to get up the hill, it will be a little easier to kind of get straight in over on this side than it would be on this side. Okay, so that's the basic lay of the land and sort of the rough design of the shed. So what I have to decide now is whether I'm going to build this thing myself from scratch, or if I'm going to try and buy one from a local shed place. So actually yesterday I took a ride over to one of the local shed places. There's actually 2 in town, but I only had time to stop at one. And I talked to a salesman for a little while and actually got a quote. So I actually have some footage of that, and I'll splice it in here now. I'll warn you, the audio isn't going to be that great, and it's probably a little shakier than even usual. So bear that in mind, but I still thought it was worth kind of splicing this in here to just kind of show the process. Okay, so I've stopped at the first place. This is called the Barnyard here in Ellington, Connecticut. And they have a ton of stuff here, some really high-end fancy stuff, as you can see. It all looks like it's pretty good. I stopped here once before and looked in some of these bigger ones. They are really nice, but what I'm looking for is sort of off to the side over here. I want to get a closer look at one of the ones in the back that's on the smaller side.
So that's the traditional with vinyl.
Is it okay if I video this so I can show my wife?
No, go right ahead.
Okay. So this is traditional
and vinyl.
Okay, and that's sort of what caught my eye first. That's sort of what we're looking at. And our house, you know, we just have a ranch, and it kind of, you know, follows the character lines of the house. This style.
So this would be the classic series. In the George MT111.
Oh, okay, I see.
So it's got the nice 6-inch overhangs, the 6-inch fascias.
And now the bases, they just sit on, what are these, 4x4s?
Yep, it's 4x4 runners.
Okay.
And it goes on crushed stone. That's site work we can handle for you as well.
The reason I'm here is I'm having somebody put in a walkway in front of the house.
Okay.
And while he's there, he's going to put a shed pad for me.
Okay.
And then we're going to see what the budget looks like after that.
Okay. Are we going to drive over the sidewalk to deliver the building?
No, the building's on the other side of the house. Yep, so no issues there. Okay. The flooring, is that also pressure treated?
Yes, so the 4x4 runners are pressure treated. The floor joists are 2x4 floor joists, 12 inches on center. And then a 3/4 inch thick pressure treated fire retardant floor. And we're known for the construction on the building as well.
Okay.
So with that being said, full headers over the doors and windows, double studded corners, double top plates that interlock.
Do the windows come with the screens and everything? Okay.
Yep. 2 windows are included with the building, and bigger windows standard. You don't have to pay extra for that.
Okay. And then the shelf is extra?
The loft is an option. Okay. It's built into the price of this building. The loft is definitely an option.
Okay. So they don't use like a header beam or something up there?
Right. So those are double gusset plates. Yep. So it gives you a snow load of 60 pounds per square foot.
Okay.
New home construction is 35 pounds a square foot. So it shows you the strength of the building.
So that one's 12 by 20, but a little bit nicer.
Yeah, nicer trim, bigger gable end vents, nicer hardware on the doors.
And of course, you have a nice cupola on there, but
this will show you size-wise.
Okay.
At 4 foot versus 16 feet makes a big difference.
It does. I used to live in Stafford, And when I lived there, I had a 12 by 20 shed. It was a small house, so we needed it. And it was the perfect size. And when I moved into the house I have now, we always regretted not having the shed.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. So I know this is the size I want. And that's more or less the price for this one?
Yes.
Okay.
But I can move the door.
Oh, right.
So if I take this door and move it over here, it's your building.
Yep, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Painted. Can I add vinyl to this? Yes, I can. Your doors would still be the wood doors, but I can do vinyl siding on this for an upcharge as well.
And this would come with the glass in the doors like that?
Yeah, at that price.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so what I'm looking at isn't going to be cheap, whether I build it or buy it. So I did get quotes on 2 different sheds. One architecturally looks a little nicer than the other, and it's actually a little more expensive, whereas the cheaper one sort of is maybe more maintenance friendly. It's got vinyl siding and that kind of a thing. Either one would be fine. I just have to look at them and see if, you know, I like one over the other. But I think there is about $1,000 difference between the two. But if I kind of add those together and average it out, it looks like a 12 by 20 shed from that place is going to run somewhere between $7,000 and $8,000. So depending on what options I pick. So what I need to do now is just work up sort of a rough order of magnitude cost of the lumber that I would need to build this myself. So I haven't done that yet. I'll kind of do that one of these evenings here when I have nothing else to do, and then kind of weigh it out and see what the difference is. The other issue that I have right now is I was at Lowe's last weekend, and I've seen other people posting on social media that there's no lumber in the stores right now. There's you know, kind of a shortage. It is summer of 2020, and we're still dealing with the C-19 episode, and then of course we've got other things going on in the world right now that are causing issues. So, you know, I may not be able to just get lumber. In fact, the whole project may have to be put on hold. I'm not sure. But I talked to the guy at the shed place, and they pre-buy all their material for the year. So right now they don't have any shortages. And if I ordered a shed, I'd get it in, I don't know, he said about 5 to 7 weeks or so. So I'm not in a real hurry to get the shed built. I do want to get the stuff cleaned out of the cellar so that next winter I can kind of work on that area down there and expand the wood shop and build sort of a craft area for my wife and son to mess around in. So again, not a super hurry, but if I can get this done this year, I'd like to do it. So I have to weigh that in along with the cost of buying, you know, a shed and having it delivered versus building it, where I'd most likely save at least some amount of money, but it's going to take me a lot of time to build it, and it may not come out quite as well as the ones at the shed place. Those are, you know, built on, I don't necessarily want to call it an assembly line, but they're built to specifications by people that do this all day long. That's their job, so it's probably going to be a little bit nicer than what I'm going to build. So I guess I've got some thinking to do. Probably in the next video, I'll let you guys know what I ended up deciding to do. Okay, so I think that's it for today. I've actually got to go mow the lawn now. But stay tuned. I think in the next video, you'll probably find out what I decided to do with the shed. And also, we didn't talk about it in this video, but I'm still waiting, obviously, for the landscaper to come. We've got to do the front walkway, which is over there behind me. I can't quite point that direction. But, you know, hopefully by next week, he'll have been here and started that and maybe put the shed pad in for me. I'm going to have the shed pad put in whether I build the shed this season or not. He's given me a pretty good discount on doing the work because he's going to have all the equipment he needs here to do the walkway anyway, so might as well put the shed pad in while he's here, and even if it sits here until next year, then that's fine. But like I said, if budget, time, and the world allows me to, I'm going to do it this year. Okay, so that's it for today. Stay tuned for the next video in this series. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to leave a comment or subscribe, feel free to do that as well. And if you'd like to support my channel in another way, please consider visiting my Amazon store, which you'll find linked in the description below. Thanks for watching.